Truck lots are overflowing, discounts are exploding, and dealerships, they're desperate. From coast to coast, unsold pickups are piling up, and no one's biting. Models that once ruled the roads are now collecting dust. Some got too fancy, others never evolved. And a few? They never should have existed in the first place. This isn't just a sales slump, it's a full-blown collapse. Today we're breaking down the 12 pickups dealers are practically begging you to buy. But don't be fooled by the flashy offers. Some of these trucks are sitting for a reason. This isn't a clearance sale, it's a warning. Honda Ridgeline. The Honda Ridgeline was meant to be clever. A truck for people who didn't want the downsides of owning one. It had a smooth ride, car-like handling, and decent fuel economy. On paper, that all sounded great, but in the real world, it felt confused. Buyers who wanted a real truck weren't impressed, and those who didn't want a truck, well, they just bought an SUV instead. What hurt the Ridgeline the most was its design. Built on a unibody frame, the same type you'd find in a crossover, it couldn't handle the rough stuff. Towing, off-roading, hauling heavier loads. It all felt like a stretch. For weekend garden runs and hardware store errands, it worked fine. But for people who actually needed a truck, it wasn't enough. It didn't feel tough, it felt light. The Ridgeline also suffered from an identity crisis. It didn't look aggressive, it didn't sound powerful. And when parked next to a Ram or an F-150, it looked out of place. It became the truck that tried to do too much and ended up doing too little. Even though it offered things like lockable underbed storage and smart tailgate features, the core audience didn't bite. Real truck owners want more grit, less gimmick. Now dealerships can't get rid of them. Incentives, 0% financing, free maintenance. Nothing's moving the needle. As one auto expert put it, it's not a bad vehicle, it's just not a truck. And that's the problem. And while the Ridgeline stalls in confusion, the next truck on this list didn't even get a chance to compete before it disappeared. The Ridgeline failed because it tried to be everything. But the next pickup failed by becoming nothing. What happens when a truck is discontinued before it finishes its fight? That brings us to the Nissan Titan, a full-size gamble that completely collapsed. Nissan Titan. The Nissan Titan had bold intentions. It was supposed to be Japan's answer to the American full-size truck market. With a big V8 engine, rugged looks, and competitive towing capacity, it looked like a real threat to the dominance of Ford, Chevy, and Ram. For a while, it even made a dent in sales. But behind the numbers, something wasn't right. The Titan lacked one critical piece: loyalty. Ford and Chevy owners often stick with their brands for generations. Nissan didn't have that kind of emotional connection in the truck world. It wasn't about performance. It was about heritage. Buyers didn't trust it long-term. It felt like a newcomer trying to wear a cowboy hat. Strong engine or not, that trust gap was impossible to close. Then came the knockout blow. In 2023, Nissan pulled the plug. The Titan was discontinued with almost no warning. That instantly destroyed buyer confidence. When a model gets canceled, support becomes a question mark. What about parts? What about resale value? What about the next generation? Buyers don't want uncertainty, they want confidence. And with the Titan, that vanished overnight. Now Titans are sitting unsold in dealership lots. Even with $5,000 cash incentives and loyalty bonuses, customers are staying away. It's hard to sell something that's already been buried, one dealership manager admitted. The Titan didn't go out with a bang. It faded into the background, taking with it any hope of becoming a true competitor. But while the Titan died in silence, the next truck is still around, just struggling to justify its price tag. The Titan had muscle but no future. But what if a truck is still alive, still on the lot, and just unwanted? That leads us to the GMC Canyon, a truck built to impress but priced to repel. GMC Canyon. At first glance, the GMC Canyon looks like a winner. It has bold styling, strong performance numbers, and that signature GMC badge, promising upscale quality. With a turbocharged engine pushing out 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, It even outperforms some full-size rivals. But here's the twist. Under the surface, it's nearly identical to the much cheaper Chevy Colorado. That's where the trouble starts. Buyers walk into a GMC showroom expecting luxury. They expect materials, tech, and quality that match the premium price tag. But when they realize it's mostly just a dressed-up version of a more affordable truck, the illusion breaks. You're paying thousands more for some chrome trim and a slightly quieter ride. That's a hard sell in 2025. The Canyon tried to offer an alternative, something fancier in the midsize segment, but it never fully justified its identity. It wanted to be refined, yet still rugged. Luxurious, but still practical. In the end, it straddled the line and ended up getting lost in the middle. Buyers don't want to feel tricked, and the Canyon feels like a truck trying to sell image over value. Now, dealerships are overwhelmed with unsold Canyons. Extended financing, free accessories, and steep markdowns, none of it's working. People see it as a Colorado in a tuxedo, said one sales rep. The Canyon aimed high but didn't deliver enough to earn its price. And while this truck struggles with a luxury label, the next one's problem was the opposite. It stayed stuck in the past for far too long. If the Canyon failed by trying to act fancy, the next pickup failed by refusing to change. And in the world of trucks, standing still is the fastest way to get left behind. Up next, the Nissan Frontier, a name that waited too long to matter again. Nissan Frontier. The Nissan Frontier once had a simple charm. It was affordable, tough, and didn't pretend to be something it wasn't. For blue-collar buyers or small business owners, it was the no-nonsense pickup that just got the job done. But for more than a decade, Nissan left it unchanged. No real updates, no redesigns, just the same outdated truck sitting quietly on dealership lots. While other brands moved forward, the Frontier stood still. That silence cost them. Ford, Toyota, and Chevy rolled out tech upgrades, sleek designs, and smart interiors. Meanwhile, the Frontier started to look ancient. Buyers forgot about it. Even longtime fans began to drift toward better-equipped rivals. And when Nissan finally delivered a redesign in 2022, it was already too late. People had moved on. The truck segment is competitive, and buyers don't wait. The redesigned Frontier wasn't bad. It brought a 310 horsepower V6, a more modern cabin, and bolder styling. But it lacked a standout feature. It wasn't class-leading in towing, comfort, tech, or fuel economy. It just existed. The long years of silence had done too much damage. The new model didn't feel fresh. It felt like a rushed attempt to catch up. Now, dealerships are overloaded with Frontiers that nobody's buying. They missed their window, said one frustrated dealer. Even with regional blowouts and up to $5,000 in incentives, the demand just isn't there. The Frontier should have been a comeback story. Instead, it's a cautionary tale about waiting too long to evolve. The Frontier's failure came from neglect. But the next truck failed for the opposite reason. It refused to retire. What do you do with a pickup that feels like it came from another decade but still clings to the showroom floor? Enter the Ram 1500 Classic. Ram 1500 Classic. The Ram 1500 Classic isn't a bad truck. It just belongs in a different era. Originally intended to fade away quietly in 2019 when the all-new Ram 1500 launched, the Classic was kept alive as a budget alternative. At first, it made sense, a cheaper full-size option with proven mechanics. But in 2025, keeping the Classic around now feels less like a value play and more like stubbornness. The Classic is powered by older engines, a 3.6L V6 or a 5.7L V8 with decent numbers on paper. But step inside and you're reminded of just how dated it is. Hard plastics, small screens, clunky controls. No modern truck buyer is asking for that. When your competition offers luxury-level cabins and state-of-the-art tech, the Classic feels like a time capsule. One buyers aren't that excited to open. Dealers tried marketing it as a reliable workhorse or a budget-friendly alternative. But buyers saw through that. They want value, not a truck that looks and feels a generation behind. With the regular Ram 1500 offering far more for a little more money, most people skip the Classic altogether. Its charm has officially worn off. Now, dealer lots are overflowing with unsold classics. "We've got rows of them just sitting," said one lot manager. Even with steep markdowns, bundled extras, and aggressive financing, the classic isn't moving. It's a relic that overstayed its welcome. And while it failed by standing still, the next truck took the opposite approach and ended up overshooting the mark entirely. The classic was too old to impress. But what happens when a truck tries to go too far, too fast? That's the story of the Ford F-150 Lightning, an electric pickup that launched with high hopes and now sits under a heavy cloud of doubt. Ford F-150 Lightning, the future that arrived flawed. When Ford unveiled the F-150 Lightning, it wasn't just another launch, it was a headline moment. An all-electric version of America's best-selling truck. That was big. The numbers wowed everyone. 580 horsepower, 775 Newton-meters of torque, and a 0-60 time under 4 seconds. It could tow up to 10,000 pounds. This was supposed to be the future. But the future, it turns out, isn't so simple. The first issue was range. Ford promised 300-plus miles, but that number tanked the moment you loaded the bed, attached a trailer, or even drove at highway speeds. Truck buyers need reliability, and losing half your charge doing basic work tasks isn't acceptable. For tradespeople, haulers, and even weekend warriors, it's a deal breaker. Then came the price. Fully loaded Lightnings crossed the $100,000 mark. Even base models weren't cheap. For a product aimed at the everyday truck buyer, the cost made no sense. Yes, there were tax credits. Yes, it was innovative. But for many, the numbers just didn't add up. Range anxiety combined with sticker shock created hesitation, and hesitation kills sales. Now dealers are drowning in unsold Lightnings. Ford is cutting prices, offering $15,000 discounts, and bundling accessories and service perks. People love the idea, but not the reality, one dealer explained. The Lightning wanted to be a revolution. Instead, it's become a warning about overpromising, under-delivering, and forgetting that truck buyers need more than cool specs. They need trust. So far, we've seen pickups fail by being too soft, too late, too outdated, and too ambitious. But the next truck tried to climb into the luxury space and ended up stuck between brands. Up next, the GMC Sierra 1500, where polish didn't equal power. GMC Sierra 1500. The GMC Sierra 1500 was supposed to be the refined full-size truck, a premium version of the workhorse Silverado. With its bold front grille, chrome accents, and flashy marketing, it aimed to be the upscale alternative for buyers who wanted something more polished. But as more buyers took a closer look, they realized something disappointing. Underneath all that style was the same truck they could get for less. Mechanically, the Sierra and Silverado share nearly everything. Same chassis, same engines, same towing specs. So why pay thousands more for the Sierra? A little extra wood trim and a fancier nameplate just didn't cut it. In a market where people scrutinize every dollar spent, that kind of markup started to feel like a ripoff. And truck buyers aren't afraid to walk away when the value isn't clear. To make things worse, competitors raised the bar. Ram offered cabins that genuinely felt luxurious, with real leather, open-pore wood, and top-tier ride quality. Even Ford started offering more for less with smarter tech and stronger interior upgrades. In comparison, the Sierra felt like a mid-tier truck pretending to be premium. Buyers started asking, what exactly am I paying for? Now lots are flooded with unsold Sierras. Big rebates, extended financing, and bundled accessories are all being pushed hard. People want more than chrome and a price tag, one dealer admitted. The Sierra didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it wasn't special. And in a market this crowded, not special is a death sentence. While the Sierra tried to fake luxury, the next truck stayed stuck in the past. And this time it wasn't about style, it was about substance. Because when a once reliable nameplate starts feeling outdated, buyers notice. Welcome to the Chevrolet Silverado's struggle. Chevrolet Silverado 1500. The Chevrolet Silverado 1500 has been a staple in American driveways for years. Known for its durability, towing muscle, and rugged style. It once defined the working man's truck. But times have changed, and the Silverado didn't keep up. While rivals evolved, Chevy played it safe. And now that safety is costing them. The last full redesign happened back in 2019. Since then, competitors have sprinted ahead. Ford updated its F-150 with hybrid engines and advanced tech. Ram reimagined truck interiors, making them feel more like luxury SUVs. Meanwhile, the Silverado stuck with stiff plastics, dated layouts, and an infotainment system that feels like it belongs in a 2015 rental car. Buyers aren't impressed anymore. Under the hood, the Silverado still delivers. It offers a range of engines, strong towing capacity, and solid payload numbers. But in 2025, performance alone doesn't sell trucks. Buyers want more. Comfort, connectivity, even a little flash. Especially when top trims push north of $60,000, expectations skyrocket. And right now, the Silverado doesn't meet them. As one frustrated salesman said, "It'll tow your trailer, but it won't wow your passengers." That might have been fine 10 years ago, but not today. Dealers are now offering thousands off MSRP plus long-term financing and bundled service plans. The Silverado isn't broken, but it's not exciting either. And in a market full of innovation, playing it safe feels like falling behind. The Silverado faded by standing still. But what happens when a truck is built for thrills and still can't win over buyers? That's where the Jeep Gladiator comes in. A rugged off-roader that's struggling where it matters most, the road. Jeep Gladiator. When the Jeep Gladiator launched, it turned heads. A Wrangler with a bed? Off-road power with pickup practicality? On paper, it sounded like the best of both worlds. And at first it worked. Off-roaders and weekend warriors loved the removable doors, solid axles, and trail-ready toughness. But as the excitement wore off, reality set in. This truck wasn't built for daily life. On the trails, the Gladiator shines. But on highways and city streets, it starts to fall apart. Figuratively, not literally. The ride is bumpy, the steering is vague. Road noise is constant. Most truck buyers aren't crawling over rocks every day. They're commuting, hauling gear, and running errands. And for those tasks, the Gladiator feels clunky and uncomfortable. Under the hood, the Gladiator's V6 engine makes 285 horsepower. It's decent, but for a truck that often costs over $50,000, buyers expect more refinement. Meanwhile, rivals like the Ford Ranger and Toyota Tacoma offer smoother rides, better interiors, and more tech for the same or less money. And Jeep hasn't done much to update the Gladiator since its debut. Now lots are filling up. Dealers are offering big cash rebates, throwing in accessories, and even promoting off-road packages for free. It's great on the trail, but nobody lives on a trail, a dealer joked. And that's the Gladiator's problem. It nailed the niche, but missed the mainstream. So far, we've seen trucks that missed their moment, misunderstood their audience, or stayed stuck in their past. But the next pickup sits in a strange no man's land, forgotten, not because it's bad, but because it has no place. Up next, the Ford Ranger. Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger should have been a hit. It has solid horsepower, proven reliability, and sits in the sweet spot between compact affordability and full-size utility. A turbocharged four-cylinder engine with 270 horsepower and 310 lb of torque gives it real muscle. It tows, it hauls, it off-roads well enough. On paper, there's nothing wrong, and yet it keeps getting ignored. Part of the problem is Ford's own lineup. The Maverick undercuts the Ranger in price while offering hybrid efficiency and clever packaging. The F-150 overshadows it with legacy, variety, and heavy marketing. Caught in the middle, the Ranger becomes forgettable. It isn't as cheap as the Maverick or as capable as the F-150. Buyers walk in curious and leave without looking twice. Its styling isn't bad, its interior is decent, but that's all it is, decent. There's no wow factor, no standout features, no strong reason to choose it over a Tacoma or Colorado. When you're shopping in a crowded market, that lack of identity kills momentum. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. Ford dealers are practically giving away Rangers. Free trailer packages, zero-interest financing, and accessory bundles are being added like candy. "We can't even get people to test drive them," one sales manager admitted. "The Ranger isn't broken, it's just invisible." And in 2025's hyper-competitive market, being invisible is just as bad as being bad. The Ranger didn't crash, it faded. But the next truck took a bigger risk. It traded simplicity for complexity, legacy for technology, and in the process, it lost the very people who built it up. This is the Toyota Tundra's identity crisis. Toyota Tundra. The Toyota Tundra built its reputation on old-school strength. It was simple, reliable, and came with a naturally aspirated V8 that lasted forever. For years, that formula worked. It didn't need fancy gadgets or sleek tech. Buyers loved it for being exactly what it was. But in Toyota changed everything, and it hasn't gone the way they hoped. Out went the beloved V8. In came a 3.4-liter twin-turbocharged hybrid V6. On paper, the power was there. 437 horsepower and a massive 583 full of torque. But longtime fans didn't trust it. Turbochargers mean complexity. Hybrid systems mean higher repair costs. What used to be a simple beast became a tech-heavy gamble. And buyers who valued dependability weren't ready to roll the dice. Then there was the price. The new Tundra came in hot, much more expensive than before. Top trims pushed past $70,000, and even base models felt steep. Toyota had created a truck that tried to match Ford and Ram in tech and features, but at the cost of its own. Identity. Loyal customers started looking elsewhere. Now Tundras sit untouched on dealership lots. "It's powerful, no doubt," said one Toyota dealer, "but people miss the old one." Even with discounts, service perks, and loyalty rebates, the Tundra struggles to find its footing. It tried to leap into the future, and in doing so, it left its base behind. The Tundra lost trust chasing innovation. But the next truck proves you don't even have to change to create a problem. Sometimes overpricing a good thing is enough to ruin it. Meet the Chevy Colorado's expensive identity crisis. Chevrolet Colorado. When Chevrolet redesigned the Colorado, they went all in. New design, new engine, bold, rugged looks. A turbocharged 2.7L engine pushing 310 horsepower and 430 lb of torque gave it serious strength. The tech was upgraded, screens were bigger, safety features were smarter. The trims, especially the ZR2, looked ready to tackle anything. But then came the price tag. The new Colorado launched with sticker shock. Even base models cost significantly more than competitors like the Ford Ranger or Toyota Tacoma. Fully loaded versions flirted with $60,000, a number that made buyers pause. The math didn't add up. The value proposition got blurry. It looked great, drove well, but the price created hesitation. This wasn't a case of poor engineering. The Colorado actually delivered, but Chevrolet overestimated how much buyers were willing to spend. They aimed for a premium market, but forgot that mid-sized truck buyers are usually shopping smart. In 2020, paying luxury prices for a mid-sized truck, even a good one, feels like a stretch. Now dealerships are scrambling. $4,000 rebates, lease blowouts, extended warranties, everything's on the table. It's the right truck at the wrong price, a GM insider confessed. And that's all it takes to tank momentum. The Colorado didn't fail on capability, it failed on perception. And once that trust breaks, it's tough to rebuild. Colorado proved even strong trucks can struggle when the price doesn't match the promise. But what if the truck does match expectations and buyers still say no? That's what's happening to the Ram 1500. Ram 1500. For years, the Ram 1500 was the full-size truck to beat. It combined raw capability with luxury car comfort. From its coil spring suspension to its quilted leather interiors and tablet-style touchscreen, the Ram 1500 redefined what a pickup could be. Buyers loved it. Reviewers praised it. Sales soared. But then something changed, not in the truck, but in the market. As the economy tightened and rates rose, buyers became cautious. Ram kept production high, expecting demand to stay hot. But demand cooled. Fast. Suddenly, dealers were sitting on months of unsold inventory. And while rivals slashed production and offered leaner trims, Ram held firm on pricing. For many buyers, that was a deal breaker. Even though the truck was still great, the timing wasn't. Consumers weren't in the mood for a $70K luxury pickup. They wanted value, simplicity, efficiency. And while Ram still offered base models, the market was flooded with high-trim versions that weren't moving. Ram had built a world-class product, but the world was no longer buying it. Now even Ram is slashing prices. Dealers are desperate to clear space. It's not the truck, one dealer sighed. It's the economy. But in this business, even the best products can flop if the timing and pricing are off. The Ram 1500 didn't fall off. It got caught off guard. So what did we learn? In a market once dominated by loyalty and brute strength, the game has changed. Buyers want smarter, more efficient, and better valued trucks. And if a pickup doesn't evolve, or worse, tries to fake its worth with chrome and gimmicks, buyers walk away. Fast. Every truck on this list struggled for a different reason. Some were overpriced, some were underpowered, some got caught in the crossfire of bad timing and worse decisions. From forgotten nameplates like the Titan and Frontier to bloated tech-loaded gambles like the Lightning and Tundra, each one tells a story of how quickly the market can turn. Now dealerships are doing anything to move metal. 0% financing, cash back, extended warranties, even free gear. But none of it fixes the core issue. People don't want trucks that don't make sense anymore. So if you're truck shopping in 2025, take this list seriously. Don't fall for the fling, ask the tough questions. Because a good deal on a bad truck is still a bad decision. If this helped you think twice before signing the papers, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep exposing what the brochures won't. Because the truth is, some of these trucks aren't selling for a reason. And that reason could be sitting in your driveway next.